Hello and welcome to the first episode of this season of the Ugandan podcast, brought to you by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, and this time in partnership with MultiChoice. My name is Anne-Marie and I will be hosting this season, God willing. And today we are starting with a bang. This episode is talking about the business of film in Uganda. So it's lights, camera, invest. And to have this conversation the right way, we have a star-studded cast when it comes to policy minds, producer brains, award-winning storytellers, and a host with questionable acting skills, but I can hold my own at least. So thank you so much for joining me. I feel like I'm in the wrong place, but I'll try. First, we have Brian Mulondo from MultiChoice. The man is a legend, and we have him for some time. We have Ruth Kibuuka, who's the manager of content development at UCC, the regulator, the one that keeps us in line. We have Judithiana Namazzi Ndugwa, Ndugwa, TV host, producer, award-winning, I'm seeing, very close in the future. She's here to share with us her expertise. And of course, the legend that is Loukman Ali from Loukman Films, a director, award-winning filmmaker, and all-around legends. Thank you so much for spending the time with me.
Thank you for having us.
So let's dive right into it. Mr. Brian Mulondo, let's kick things off with the big picture. MultiChoice is very famously investing in local content, whether it's skilling, whether it's finances, whether it's giving people a platform. What impact have you seen that this investment has made so far?
Thank you, Anne-Marie. First of all, I can say now without a shadow of doubt that because of what we are doing, the industry is more vibrant than ever. Yeah. We have consistently invested in purely Ugandan content for the past 6 years. I say 6 years, of course, we're doing this earlier. So people like the Salvadors came through our actions of supporting local content when we did, an entire nation looking for stand-up comedians. Yeah. People like Guy came through shows like Big Brother. But intentionally for Uganda, we started the PAL channels. So the PAL Magic Prime, and PAL Magic Local. Yeah. So currently, we have been able to develop 3 channels in the past 6 years. I think those of you who are familiar with TV schedules, to run a TV channel, 24-hour channel that runs strictly local content is such
diabolical business.
It's crazy business, right? Yes. Right. You guys first give me your
right. Yeah. Very well deserved.
So I think we've done a phenomenal job. So what we've seen now, we have a plethora of talent. There was a time when if you are looking for the best cameraman, you could hire 5 people. And the entire city is exhausted.
True, yeah.
If one shot takes all the cameramen, like you say, there are no cameramen. Yeah. What we've done, we've skilled those cameramen. We've skilled sound people. We've skilled actors. We've skilled producers. We've skilled makeup artists. And so there is now an abundance of talent across the industry. So you have more than 5 huge productions happening, and no one is saying Banage, Sirina. You understand? So which is a huge plus to the industry, but also I think people are now recognizing the actual value of the industry. We are not paying what we want to pay people. But we are paying people decently. Yeah. We are paying people decently. Yeah. And we are not saying, Mr. Mulondo, when you come on this set, you are going to be the producer. Ate we want also food. No. No, we are telling Judithiana.
Oh my God.
Judithiana, on the set of Kampala Cream, your job is producer. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
get a costume designer.
Yeah.
Because you're not a designer. Okay, you might be a designer in your free time, but here you are not a designer.
Yes.
Employ someone. Employ and pass that money to another person.
True.
So we've done that really well. And so now parents in the past that used to say, for me specifically, I remember my mom, because my auntie went to Chitante High School. Chitante is where the Bobby Wines of this world, the Bebe Cools of this world went.
You had to name drop.
You
Okay.
know? Well.
I'm a gad.
So my mom would always say, oyagala kuba muyayenga. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
My friend, when these people started bringing in escalades, Rwachi Tobanga, it changed.
You're right.
You know?
Yes.
Right.
I watched Girl in the Yellow Jumper with my family. We had a watch party. And I told my mom, man, I'm friends with like I can call him now.
Look, are you
of course,
friends?
Gasimanyoba anadamu esimu. Guy is okuswaza natadamu esimu. But I was like, oh, I know that guy.
Yeah.
That is my guy.
Like.
And my mom was really proud because she knows this is what I do, you know. She was proud that we were having something that the entire world was watching.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've also, parents understand the value
Nurture the talent.
of the film industry. So when for example my son was telling me he wants to be a footballer, I was like, okay. I was not bothered.
Because
I see the value when you see how much people are earning. So when your son tells you, I want to be an actor, I want to be a cameraman, I want to be a makeup artist, you're like, you know what? It's okay. You go. Yeah. So I think our actions in the industry have reshaped the way people look at film. Yeah.
Yes, significant impact and a big investment. So we thank you for that. Since we're talking about investment and impact, maybe we talk to the independent filmmaker who might not have had some of these before they came up. You're talking about investment? He's the one on the grind. As an independent filmmaker, what have been the biggest barriers that you've faced when it comes to financing and distributing your films? Because like you said, this is relatively new. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you've met when it comes to distributing what it is that you do?
So when it comes to funding, we don't really have like an ecosystem. I worked in Nigeria I worked on 2 films over there, and I realized that they have the companies understand film. So for most films, they'll approach techno. Techno will have like a product placement. They'll approach all these different companies, petrol stations, and it seemed quite obvious over there. Like,
This is how we do it.
that's how it's done.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, why are the products for this company and that company, and that because they're giving us this money and this, and it seemed like every single set I was working on, they had someone like that, and it was a thing that happens. But over here, a lot of companies don't really understand. And I don't blame them because they don't really see the results. But we have to start from somewhere. So those are some of the issues that we have. Personally, I've had to like fund everything myself. But for most people, they really have no way of doing it because film is very expensive.
Yes.
I mean, you know that.
It's a very expensive hobby.
Very expensive. Very expensive. And I also kind of get away with things because I know how to do a lot of different things myself. What you were talking about.
You're everything.
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I plan and I get to do all these different roles.
Yeah.
But when it comes to distribution, same issue. I mean, if you don't have distribution, these things work together, like in tandem. So if you don't have funding, you're most likely not going to have distribution. Because if you had distribution, then you'd have funding.
Yeah.
So these things work hand in hand. So this is one of the reasons I again appreciate DSTV. What you said is true. When Sanyu came out, it drained everyone. Like everyone.
It took everybody.
So we started getting new people. when Sanyu started, when Sanyu started, a lot of us had to cancel what we were doing because we have no sound guy. Everyone has been swallowed up by Sanyu. Yeah, every day, and it's a show, and it's going to take years. And now we're like, what do we do? So now their students had to like fill in, and then now we have to teach them quickly. Okay, this is how it's done. So yeah, it's a good thing, but in terms of independence, it's very difficult. There's no straight answer to how to deal with anything. Yeah.
It's been quite the marathon for you.
He needs to write a book.
I
there's so much we'd learn from that.
On independent films, I think the story behind is usually more interesting than the film itself.
True.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, listening to those hurdles and maybe still sticking to the challenges that come into this.
And staying in the business.
Yes. Now, I want to come to you, Judithiana, who's now a TV show host, a producer, director, and you're wearing all these hats. What are the challenges that you've seen? And on top of everything that you're doing it as a woman in a male-dominated space. What are some of those challenges that you've seen?
I think sort of it's a continuation of what he's saying and what Brian has said and what Loukman has said. Because the industry is very young, we have people who are like, oh, I want to do it, but then there's laxity and professionalism sometimes, but that's because they've not been skilled. It's not because maybe they don't want to sort of do what they're supposed to do. And sometimes you have people who are doing it. You have crew who are doing it. Well, I'm doing it because I want to be like this person, but then they're not ready to do the work that it takes to be a Loukman Ali. Does that make sense? And for me, what I have learned with the different maybe producers and the different projects that I've worked on is that you need, as a creative in an industry like Uganda, you need to continue researching and learning. I remember there's a production manager who once told me that, yes, you are a content director, but it's important for you to know whether you're using a 50mm, whether you're using a 16mm. You need to understand, even things that are not, you need to, because the industry we're in, there are moments when you have to be a Loukman Ali. You have to bring a kid who is not so good because Prestige, Sanyu, Kampala Cream, everyone has taken everyone. And you have this young kid. And so, the lenses that you need, you bring a guy, you're like, okay, fine, we'll put the 70-200 right there. We'll put this one right here. And then this is what we're supposed to do. So I learned that you have to continue learning and researching. And also like background, there's a time, I've had passion for beauty and makeup as well. There's a time I did makeup, and I learned that also that information has helped me that right now, as we do Kampala Cream, even if I don't have to get the #1 makeup artist in Uganda, I can get a young girl and tell her, so this is how you do. So you'll contour here and then you do here. And then all I have to do is to make sure I buy top of the top products to have them on set. So when the stars come on set, they're like, ooh, Lancome, ooh, Estee Lauder, ooh. Do you get what I mean? So it allowed me to, cut cost. I didn't have to have the best makeup artist. So for me, it is, you constantly learn, whether it's your business or not your business. You're not doing sound, learn. Just learn, just have the information, just have the skill. And and then also maybe another thing that I do a lot about everything. I'm the kind of person who prays about everything. And I know someone looks at Kampala Cream and they're like, how do you go to God and tell them about Kampala Cream? I pray about my cast before I choose cast. Before hiring the team, I pray, I say, God, help me choose the right team. Help me get the right cast members. And clearly,
fire. Clearly, you're upper than them.
I wonder how God deals with such prayers.
I want a show with violence. God help me.
And that's weird, but I have heard that. Sometimes in a scene, I'm like, God, let it come out. Let it be entertaining, please. Let it be entertaining, please.
But by entertaining, you mean let it be chaotic, because that's what usually people like.
I tell God, look, man, I tell God, and God deals with it how He sees fit. And I do have the number one reality TV show in Uganda, so
So
yeah.
God is answering your prayers.
Nice.
But I get what you mean, how God deals with that. Like, okay, scene, okay.
No one wants God's job. Let's just put that out there. But now we've seen the people who are doing it and who are existing in the space. I would like to come over to the regulators side, Uganda Communications Commission. We were having a conversation before here and how Loukman is actually an alum of some of the UCC's skilling programs. And recently UCC came forward to give local stations a threshold where they're supposed to have Ugandan content on their platforms and everything. We've seen wide benefits to invest in local content from the individual perspective. But as a policy maker, as the regulator, why is it so important for UCC to invest in Uganda as opposed to bringing content from outside? Why was it so important for you to come and tell TV stations, no, you need to have this amount of Ugandan content? And why is it so important that you actually even support that content to come up?
Okay, thank you very much. I like it that you first asked the industry players to tell us what's on ground. So now you can see that the film industry is one of the things that you cannot do on your own. You must have support of government. It takes a lot of investment, it takes a lot of stakeholders, and as a Loukman Ali, you do not have that capacity to go to all ministries, go to the banks, and show the power that you have as a film person. So as UCC, over the last 12 years, I think, we took a step into the industry and introduced what we called local content quotas for the TV broadcasters. So the quotas were to ensure that they also show local content, not just foreign content. And what came up when that was introduced was very interesting. The broadcasters were definitely willing to show the content, but the content was not there that meets their standard. So you have a lot of this content that, I mean, like she said, it's talent. I have produced my movie, so whether you like it or not, I've produced it. But when you go to the TV stations, what quality do they need? And now who was there to make sure that this quality can be produced? So as UCC, it was very important for us to step into now the development side, that we not just come in as a regulator, but rather also support the development of this quality content that is needed. So that is how we started programs like capacity building. I can assure you that's why I said Loukman is one of our products. Actually, most of these big producers you see on ground, the Richard Mulondos, the Nisha Kalemas, the Nanas, they have all come out of UCC's programs.
Wow.
And of course, thank MultiChoice. MultiChoice has been there with us. Was this capacity building? So as UCC, we identified what are the key things that we need to do to support the growth of this industry. And key among them, if you're to be a very good doctor, you must skill yourself. Yeah. So the filmmakers, most of them are self-made. They are talent-driven. But for them to produce something that MultiChoice will show, they must learn how do they do it. If I'm a cinematographer, do I just wake up and hold a camera or what? Or are there principles for doing good cinematography? If I am a script writer, where do I begin? Where do I end? So they lacked that. And we did a survey in the industry, realized everyone was on their own with their talent, and that's how come they were producing quality that was not meeting the standard. So passionately, UCC started capacity building. I can assure you that we've done over 10,000 content creators skilling in different aspects, directing, producing, script writing, cinematography, all those. And it has changed what you see on the Ugandan scene.
You see it, yeah.
Yes. Now, also promoting the local film industry. The local film industry is a sector just like oil and gas, you know. So in Uganda, if you look, you'll not see where film was falling and who was doing it. Yes. So as the commission, being a regulator of the sector, we also prioritize that if there is nothing to regulate, what do you have to do as government? You have to support the development to bring the film sector on the map. And I can assure you, when I look at when we're starting those initiatives, that putting the local film industry on the map for all people to know that there is a Uganda film industry, both locally and internationally. I put a tick. I said, this has definitely happened. The people will testify to that. So the industry is very vibrant, but it had to be supported.
I was just telling her that I got feedback over the weekend about people who are not in the industry saying, "Hey man, I feel much kubya ku weekend."
Yeah.
The awards,
festival,
yes,
yeah.
film festival. You could see the actions that are happening. People are excited. You know, it's on TV. Yeah, so they've done really well to get it out. 12 years.
12 years. And you see, when people look at the festival, they only look at the gala night. But the festival has happened for almost half a year. Throughout the year, you are doing skilling. You are collecting movies and saving them. You are going to different regions to make sure. So we climax with the festival. Every country that has succeeded in film, they have a festival. Because a festival attracts people. People will not come to look at all this skilling and what. The skilling will be in the results that you portray from your products, the people that you have trained. But that climax of the festival, now everyone globally will see. In US, in France, in Canada, people will say, oh, there is a Uganda Film Festival. And what that shows, there's a Uganda film industry. Yes. You know, it also promotes our stories and tourism. So this is one of the sectors that once well managed, it will attract a lot of tourists to the country. You know, it will also preserve our heritage and values. If you let people, everyone just go and speak about what they think is right, then that is how, you know, when Nigeria was coming up, people thought everyone in Nigeria is a witch. Is a what? It's a witch doctor.
Live.
So when you come
to not live.
It's a witch. So when you come to support as government and give direction, people know that, oh, much as I have passion, I must tell stories that resonate with the country, that promote the values of the country. And that has come out very well. But also definitely driving the economic growth of Uganda. We are looking for employment as a country. This is one of the sectors that can employ millions and millions of content creators. So as UCC, we think we are on the right verge of where the sector is going, developing and creating employment for the youth, and not only the youth, even the old and different other sectors, including the tourism, the transport, the hotels, and what, because it's a sector that touches very many segments. So all those put together, the Commission knew what they were doing, and they felt it very important to support the development of the industry. Many people have also come up and said, but for you, the regulator, why don't you just regulate? But regulate what? Exactly. So I really thank the UCC management who saw the vision. Then it was under the management of Engineer Godfrey Mtawazi. They saw the vision which not any other person was seeing. They said this sector, if well managed, the money that you're not seeing now will all come in. One movie like this can bring billions of shillings to Uganda, you know. So that is the road we are trying to move.
So we've dealt with the frustrations and the foundations in the industry. Now let's move on to the talents, the tools, the trends. What's actually happening right now? Brian, we know that collaboration is key. We're looking, I mean, we have all of you here today, so that's important. What are some of the partnerships that you've been, maybe you've been a part of, or maybe you witnessed, supported in whatever capacity, where you actually saw that working together actually created measurable success?
So obviously our biggest partnerships are with independent filmmakers. So one of the ways, and you chose the right word, partnership, than just using this thing called, how do you get content? Because we get that question a lot. And I always like to use the word partnership. So how do we partner with the film industry? We commission content. So you have a concept. You say, guys, we want a reality show. We want violence on TV. You say, let's call filmmakers to pitch. Write for us a show that looks like this. So people come, pitch, and Nandu Productions, takes it. You say, guys, we have a telenovela we want to put out. This is the idea, pitch. And Sanyu, Nabuiso Films takes, or I forget Magola's name, Ava Juliet Productions. So we are partnering with filmmakers, right, to make sure that they deliver shows that are just show-stopping. And these shows have been nominated at the Uganda Film Festival and won, and also at the AMVCAs. So we know we are not just doing it for Uganda, we're doing for Africa. They're competing, with other products on the continent, which is dope, right? The Mashariki Awards, we have the Kalashi Awards, so they are going out, right? But also, one thing which I am really excited about is, yes, commissioning is fantastic. MultiChoice owns that content, and we put it on our flagship channel called Power Magic Prime. So that's why you see Sanyu, Beloved, Kampala Cream, Damalai, Juniors Drama Club, So those properties sit there. But we also have Power Magic, where a lot of our licensed content sits. So A1 Eddie comes with his show. I've produced 100 episodes. We'll buy the content and we put it on that channel. Own it for 2 years or whatever. Then after that, he can go and resell. One of those products that we did, because some people say, no, mutufirako, whoa. You're like, no. So what if aired on our channel first? And now I've seen it running on NTV. So
Chadala ran on NBS.
Chadala came from NBS and came to Pearl Magic. Yeah. JDC started on YouTube and came to Pearl Magic Prime. So we want to be able to spread our wings as much as we can. But one of the things that we have done extremely well, we are premiering this. I don't know when this episode will air, but we are premiering this on exclusive. Sunday. We have done a continental partnership with some of the best filmmakers across the continent to produce the story of Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Ilembe.
Yeah, the show is called Shaka Ilembe. It starts on the 15th of June.
Produced by Nomzamo Mbata.
Auntie of Bewulira.
What a girl.
So, this is the story of Shaka that we studied. Do you remember the Shaka Zulu in black and white TV? Only if you are rich at your home. Yeah? So we have recreated this story. And we are using, obviously, actors, that are known now, and more than 1,000 extras. We have
1,000 jobs, 1,000 livelihoods, 1,000 paychecks, 1,000 lives changed.
You can just imagine the amount of employment just on that one set.
Yeah.
Obviously, across our shows, we have employed chefs, because people always think, and I think the challenge is we've narrowed this film industry to just actor, cameraman, actor, cameraman.
The production assistants.
There are people who are driving.
Yes, drivers.
People who are locations.
Yes, location, cast, directors.
Loukman can tell you the struggle with location. I once found him building a set inside a building, right? Yeah, because sometimes
it's easier
look
to do it like that.
Yeah, sometimes you look for partners, people who have affordable locations.
Just to add on that, I remember I posted on Twitter that I was looking for a mansion.
Hey.
I failed to get a mansion. I got a couple of mansions in Western Uganda, but someone that has a mansion that size, they don't really care about money. So the amount of money they ask, like $8,000 a day, that's ridiculous. So now I have to go and shoot it in Kenya.
Locations is the
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have to go and shoot it it's either Kenya or South Africa. And it's just a mansion. There's plenty of them. But people don't really understand the film industry. So like
Yes.
We need
you're
a
here to
conversation
expose
about
my,
locations,
My riches.
My riches.
They will come and look for me and
Yeah,
audit
so-
me.
so-
Yeah.
Leave alone that even establishments like hotels do not understand anything with film. Like we
Yeah.
literally beg.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not even, they don't want money. So now it's social capital. Who do you know that can talk to someone who can talk to someone to get you the location? Locations?
Yes.
Yeah, and
So
that's the
those
building
things.
trust.
And in
yeah.
Kenya, they called me and they're like, we can give it to you for free. I promise. You just have to.
Hi.
No, but it's not. But
Do you have
it's
my
it's,
number?
it's
Maybe
not
back to
shocking.
the topic.
It's not shocking for me because I've seen this in other countries, in like West Africa, in Nigeria. It happens, but
Yeah.
people just don't know.
Yes. So
value of stuff.
we
The
need
conversation,
to
yeah.
do a lot of, for lack of a better word, customer education when it comes to film. There's an ecosystem just on creating this podcast. I don't know if you're able to turn around and show how many people are on location just doing this thing. So people need to understand that entire ecosystem, and we've done that with our. So those are some of the partnerships we are thinking of. We're also partnering more skilling. We have what we call the MultiChoice Talent Factory, where we take people to Nairobi for an entire year, all expenses paid, and they learn.
So, Brian, I also
But they're brand. I
Well.
thought we were friends. How come?
But you're already here. You're already here. So now you need to allow the admirers coming. So writers, I know people who have brilliant stories. You can see the way people write on social media. Like, "Muntu ono mugezi."
I know.
This person has some clever. They can write a story, and stories die
Yeah.
because they can't be expanded. Character worlds are not rich. This what the character webs. You're like, but there are people who are so brilliant at doing these things. So
That's true.
MultiChoice Talent Factory then does that, and skills people on how to write really universal stories. That even if you're in Nai and you watch a Ugandan story, you're like, that's me there.
And actually, that has a ripple effect just to make brand feel good and MultiChoice. I think it has a ripple effect in the sense that when we did Date My Family and then did Kampala Cream, I remember so many people calling us and telling us that, we have this concept, can we meet for lunch? And then we'll meet and then would give them everything. Actually, they were very surprised that we were willing to tell them how it works, how we pitched, how we built the concept of reality TV. And I know, look, man, you look at me and you're like, she's talking? You guys do trash TV.
No,
It's yes. But like, it has a ripple effect that even the people that don't come to MultiChoice reach out to us and ask us, how do I pitch? How do I package my reality TV? Okay, this is the idea. I want to do a dating reality TV show. So you find that the knowledge, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah,
It goes
so
goes
good.
out. So you guys are doing
So
more
good.
than you think
Our
you're doing.
key partnership is with the UCC.
Yeah.
And during the film week, we did skilling in casting. We did skilling in pitching for film. Throughout the year, we do a lot of workshops in partnership with UCC. We are, what word did you use, Ruth, when you are, we are primary partners. What is there's a word that is the bombastic word I like that you use.
That you like today.
So
All the way.
yeah,
Partners
we are
all the way.
the flagship partners of the festival. So throughout the entire year, we're working with UCC to make sure that their vision is brought to life, and we're also engaging actively. Yeah.
I think back to your point about creating a universal script. Loukman, you are one of the leaders when it comes to this, when it comes to creating the universal standard. Your films have garnered international attention, international awards. So maybe you can tell us how you said that you're teaching these people, how were you able to find the balance between creating an authentic Ugandan story, yet still being appealing to the globe?
Emerging on top of the staircase. Hey.
Well, because every time someone says like authentic African story, I think a lot of people misunderstand this thing. So there isn't like a specific story that's African. There's only like 7 types of stories ever. It's like, like a rags to riches, like these different types of stories that you can tell. Now a rags to riches story in India is going to be a rags to riches story in Uganda, but the only difference is going to be the nuances that are in Uganda and not India.
Culture as well.
Yeah.
Which you've managed to perfect. All of
No,
your
not
movies
really.
show the Ugandan experience.
I'm on a journey learning these things, but I think the problem we tend to have is people think that there's a specific way of telling stories in Uganda. But they forget that it's the same story. It's just what we mean when you say authentic is a Ugandan wedding. It's not going to be like an Indian wedding. Yeah. But it's a wedding, nevertheless.
The culture needs to be
so those
Ugandan,
things,
yes.
Those are the things that you're looking for. For example, I have I have a film that's happening on the road, and these things come naturally. You're like, oh, there's going to be traffic. Of course, there's going to be traffic as an excuse for being late. There's going to be border issues.
Yeah.
Those are things that when someone from the US is watching, they'll be like, okay. I remember when Girl in the Little Jumper, there's something we did that to me wasn't even anything. But I was filming in Nigeria and some guy was like, wait, so people put fish at the front of the grill?
Oh, so Ugandan.
And
so
I was
Ugandan.
like, I thought everyone did that because it's
It
obvious.
makes sense.
Yeah,
you can see
you don't want
the fish, yeah.
you don't want the smell in your car, so you put it outside. Like, no, I've never.
Put it in coolers.
Oh, right.
No, these are Nigerians. They probably put it in a backpack. But no, because Nigerians love fish, so they don't really care. Yeah. So, anyways, so those are the small nuances that you need. So instead of looking at story, because remember from as most Africans, before other countries had theater before we had it. So our theater was sitting together and talking about film. So telling each other stories. So that model is a different language. It's not cinema language. So that model of telling a story is not cinema. It's a storytelling, but it's a different language.
Story, yeah.
So you just can't grab that and put it here. It just doesn't work. It's kind of like trying to get a song and put it in a book. Both of these things are art and they're all storytelling, but they're different. So theater kind of translates kind of smoothly into film. You just have to change a few things. But the way we used to tell stories like orally just doesn't translate very well into cinema. So that's the issue that we've always had here. People, every time someone says authentic African stories, people run back to that model. And now that's how we end up with movies that are so like tell, talking about the thing. And then when we try to export those, people out there just don't, what's going on? Like the whole story is just being told and you're not seeing, and this is a visual media, you're not seeing anything. It's just being told to you. So that's why for me, when I'm trying to make movies, I don't focus so much on is this story plausible in Uganda? Because anything is plausible in a story you're making. Everything is acceptable. So for me, I just write. It could be aliens coming to Uganda. It could be any of those things. And then, due to my Ugandan experience, the Ugandanness will find its way in there because
True.
I am Uganda. I can't run away from it. There are things that will happen. You can't
run away from your background.
I won't even know that I'm doing, and they'll just reflect in there. So I think for me, some of the stories I make, that's why they kind of cross. Even like on my YouTube, most of my audience is US, India, Kenya. And some of the stories I make are like, I feel like this is here. But it can people out there can connect to it. So I think the issue is learning what like how the language of cinema works and what story is, and then applying the nuances on top of that.
Oh goodness, yeah. I'm so privileged to have the conversation with all of you. I feel like there's so much I'm learning already. So let me tuition. So Kankusasule, by also asking you, what is, if you've all shared so many gems that people might not have known and might have never known if they hadn't watched this episode. Yes. If you could summarize your experience as a creative, because before all else, producer, director, and everything, you are a creative.
Yes.
If you could summarize what you've learned into one key pivotal lesson for someone who's just starting out in the industry, what do you think it's so important to know? What is that lesson that you're like, if you have this one, everything else you can navigate?
Okay, just two. First one, be very open and welcoming to criticism, especially if it's constructive. Like I've learned that when you listen, I like to listen, because sometimes when you could be in a space and maybe I remember we had gone to like a visitation of my niece and nephew, and they were talking about Kampala Crumbuji, right? And they're like, oh my God, do you know Mommy Deb at her wedding, she had a dress with real diamonds? I was like, were they? They were telling us.
I was there and I didn't see that.
They were telling us. And but then I would just turn around and ask, because it was the parents and the kids talking, and I was like, what is it about that show? Like, I like to listen.
They don't know you're producing?
No, they don't know.
Okay.
Yes. I was like, what is it about that show that I'd gone to see my nieces and nephew, but the people who were the family that was close to, yes, they were talking about the show and we were listening. Yeah, so I just asked, what do you? So I like to listen to criticism, and I feel like constructive, because I know today with social media, everybody is everyone is, thank you so much. But that has helped me grow as a creative, because truth is, you don't know everything. And at the end of the day, when you hear, sometimes I like to hear perspective. How do you see this cast member? How do you see this cast member? How do you see the storyline? I feel like that could have looked scripted because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then I ask them a question. But in real life, don't you A, B, C, D, E, F, G? And then if they tell me something different, I'm like, oh, interesting. Do you get what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like Loukman says, we're storytellers. But it's about also, but the way we watch movies and take in these things, and the reason why I watch series and I get mad and I hate Damali, in as much as I know it's
Just
but I love Doreen Mirembe, but I hate the character. It's just acting, but it's real for us. You've told the story for me to believe that it's real. So it's also good to listen to what people are saying. And I know it can be too much, but sometimes you can tell constructive criticism. And that has helped me improve as a creative. And then one other lesson is, don't do something unless you're willing to do it excellently. Like, I'm the kind of person, whether you're paying me enough or paying me halfway, or you last paid me 10 years ago. Okay, why would I be doing that? But okay, but I've learned that if I've accepted the job, if I've said, yes, I will do the job, I need to do it excellently. Because you see, I think Loukman didn't just start with his first movie and end up on Netflix. He had to do a lot of small.
It is my first film, but
okay, like I'm saying, but you had to do other projects for you to get to that. But it also, when that Netflix opportunity came, it found you ready because you were sharpening your skill, and that goes with excellence. Sometimes we do because, well, sometimes creatives have these things. Maybe I don't have the vibe. You took the job.
Exactly. And the vibe won't pay bills.
Because at the end of the day, like I like what we've talked about, it's a business as well. For MultiChoice, it's a business. So when you go in and you're like, well, my vibe is not giving, I should work today. So for me, it's excellence. And also one thing I've learned as well is, you see how we say that the pool is so small? Okay, it has widened, but it's still not as big. Let's be honest. I've learned that today someone could be the first AD and on the next gig they're the executive producers.
Exactly.
Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my crew that, ask yourself that if we're here and we're working together with Loukman and maybe I'm a gaffer, Loukman, when you make it to CBS and I don't know, get a $5 million contract, will you consider me, or will you be like, no, I don't want to work with that person? She was complaining all the time. She when it would rain, when it would, do you get what I mean? Like you would choose people who are excellent.
Yeah. They say the toes you step on today might be attached to the backside you have to kiss.
Yes.
You see, the phrasing of that was quite
Yeah.
carefully.
So you get, so I learned that you never know who is watching. Just be excellent. When the time comes, and I get my chance to be the monoscot of Africa,
Come on.
they need to find me ready. So in everything you do, just be excellent. Yes.
Okay. So with the partnerships, the universal appeal and the excellence, now we have seen that UCC policy is more than just paperwork. We would like to see from the regulator's perspective, what are you doing to protect this hard work, to protect this excellence, and help them when it comes to distribution? So how are you protecting them in terms of copyright and giving them access to distribution channels?
Okay, thank you very much. The starting point is that it's a business. Yes. Now, every business must strive and have policies that govern it. So one key thing the Commission is doing is putting in place regulatory frameworks. This business of film, what governs it? As we've heard, there's a lot of challenges in there. But who can put it in place? It's the policies that are in place. So UCC has different frameworks to manage the film industry. I know some have been welcome, some have not been welcome. But people like Loukman and all these that are here that know that there is no business that can thrive without regulation are the ones that should be ambassadors for regulation. When you're going to shoot a film, the people you've brought on set, what are the do's and don'ts, what she's talking about, that do it excellently? For you to do it excellently, what are you following? You must have principles that you're following so that if you cannot fit in this, don't do it. So the Commission is pushing so much for the regulations. We know people are not happy with new regulations. I was just laughing with Brian that today the whole media is talking about the traffic rules that have come in place.
Kilometers.
Yes, but also we must know that Ugandans love praising what other countries are doing, and what they are praising is rules of those countries. So as you, so all the countries we are talking about that have excelled in film, the Nigerians, South Africa, US, they thrive on regulation, so that it's looked at as a sector and with policies. And two, when I create my content, it should be protected. So we protect their content, copyrights, infringement.
Yes.
For example, as broadcasters, you must know that you shouldn't be seen putting any content on your platform if you don't have rights from the content owner. So that if Loukman makes his film, he should determine where it should be sold. Right. It should not just go and fall in everyone's hands to sell for free. If he has hold of where his content is let out, then he has control of his business. So copyright infringement is one of them. And this we also do in partnership with people like URSB, Uganda Registration Service Bureau, because it's the copyright actually enforcer in Uganda. But as UCC, we do a lot of stakeholder engagement because we know that film is regulated in different spaces. So the Commission has brought all these organizations together to work on this big animal called film, so that each one of us can do their part and support the growth of the film industry. Now, we also do a lot of capacity building in that space. When I tell you that for the last 8 years, the challenges we had with filmmakers is that someone even creates their content and they don't know who owns it. When the awards come out, that's where now the problems start.
Yes.
Everyone comes and now you start asking them, okay, let's see, who is the owner of this film? So for me, I brought my thing and said, guys, so you must be empowered to know how to protect your rights and intellectual property. So that is being done through skilling. And I think it's really getting better. Now I can say that like Friday we gave out awards, you'll have zero challenges.
Yeah.
Who owns what? Who owns what? That is killing. But it was such a big
Happened to
problem.
me as well.
12 years
Yeah.
ago.
I put
And
someone
you
as a
look at
producer on
someone
my
crying
movie.
and the
Then
sharp
I didn't
one.
know that they own it. I thought I was just, let me just put you somewhere.
Exactly.
Because you're like, I want to create. You work with you work on the.
No, like they've been around, they've helped. I'm like, oh, I wonder what role I
What
give
can
them.
I do?
Yeah.
And you know what would
And
happen?
then when
The
they're
ones
reading
who are
awards, they
sharp.
call them, you're like, okay.
So
I didn't know
if
it
I
was
am
their
sharp and I know the law, what I will do, I will tell you, okay, just put me as the producer.
Yeah.
Eh?
Oh,
And
yeah.
because you're,
They take
I
it.
mean, just you don't know, you put producer. Tomorrow they announce best feature film.
Produced by.
You're like, but it's my film.
Yeah.
But here we are saying
the credits are
the
saying.
credits are saying.
Yeah.
So it is how do you protect your rights and intellectual property. So UCC is doing a lot of skilling in that, but also stakeholder engagement. Like I've said, you cannot do it alone. So you work with different people, the industry, the government, policymakers, to ensure that everyone supports this big thing called film.
That's incredible.
Lovely.
Maybe now we can talk about some progress now and the power moves that are being made. Brian, MultiChoice is very deliberate with a lot of the things that they do. I mean, people might not even realize it, but I'm giving Ugandans credit. We're very intelligent. The name Pearl Magic itself denotes Pearl of Africa. So how else
Tomorrow
is
covered.
MultiChoice so deliberate with culture preservation in its content choices? Because you'll see that all of the shows, I mean, they have our names. Sanyu, Damali, which is a very popular Ugandan name. How are you guys so deliberate with your cultural preservation when you're making content choices?
So you've helped me give the first answer.
All right.
The title, the titling of a show, it has to be relatable. So if you're picking a show and you're saying, okay, let's use a name of a person. Now these days, people don't want to call their children Brian. They either call them Jaden or Luganda names.
Oh yeah.
Tendo, Malaika. So Sanyu is a universal,
It has
it's
meaning,
joy,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it's easy.
Yeah.
Whether you're from the north or from the east, you can easily say Sanyu.
Yeah.
So Damali. And for us, we did a bit of wordplay with Damalai,
The truth was in the name.
Yes.
She does.
So that's number one, because it has to be easy to remember. But number two, we emphasize, because of the many tribes we have, you have to look at the numbers also. 60% of Ugandans speak and understand Luganda. So in the content, we're telling our producers, you have to have 60% of the local language, 40% English, because our people need to understand. If you have a character called Okero, let Okero
Speak like Okelo.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, I forget her name always in Sanyu. The girl who came and kuchankalanyad the entire... What's her name? Alo...
I know her face. I remember.
Alunyo. She was always quarreling in her language. and during that time, my God, everybody
The power of
from
representation.
Karuma and across was like, we are finally represented. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have a show like Senchu Boss. This guy
Music
is
Express.
always singing in his language. And this is what our people know. So we want those things to come out. It is very deliberate. Music Express. You have to be, what's his name? The Mugisu man. Please bring out what the Bagisu do. So that talks about the relevance of culture.
I think
But
also Sanyu, whenever Abe Muchibi spoke Lusoga, I was like,
the character is the
I didn't even know
Chirundas.
Lusoga could sound this
Why
good.
are you making
It was so
Chirunda,
good.
speak Luganda? Let him speak Lusoga, so that the content is also acceptable. Here. If you don't understand it, you put on subtitles.
Say it's the same way we watched all those Nigerian movies and we quickly learned that there is Yoruba, Igbo, as if we were from there.
We started learning the things. Tufiakwa. Che, you know? Because the truth is some things are better said in your mother tongue.
Yeah, true.
But something that we're also very excited about, we were very intentional on creating Pearl Magic Local, which was a local language channel. Yeah, so unfortunately, we closed the channel, but fortunately, we brought that content from Pearl Magic Local and put it on Pearl Magic. So we have an entire every day, daily, 2 to 4:30 p.m., where we show content
Back to back.
strictly in the local language. Terimuli
Back to
Ruzungu.
back.
It's either dubbed, and when you say dubbed is we shall get
DJ Junior something.
a huge show
Yeah.
and have actors voicing, speak over it, or we translate it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in this week, I don't know when this show will run, but on the 11th of June, we are premiering a show called Dust, which is in Runyankore. We are introducing
I know
a show
Bocherezo.
in Acholi. Well, strictly Acholi.
Right.
That is incredible.
You understand? So it is very intentional because you want the people to
To conserve and to
yeah,
preserve the
conserve-
culture.
Yeah. The other day I had someone saying that, on Pearl Magic channels, you see the father, the child is responding to the father the way they want.
Ah,
That is
crossroads.
not our culture.
Trust me, even that when we've spoken to the actor, he says that there are moments when he's wanted to throw her off the balcony.
You know?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So when you hear comments like that, you stop and think, say, you know what? Yeah, maybe they are right. Let's stay and conserve this. So those are the things that we are doing. Yeah, but we've also partnered with people who are doing stories about our culture. We partnered with Peter Mchibi, who documented Nambi really well. Yeah. In our efforts with UCC, we sponsor categories like Indigenous Film of the Year. Echawano,
Yes, very necessary.
so that we award. I think Maynard won the last one, where he created a piece about Omwenge, so that's what we're doing, stuff like that.
Oh, that's wonderful. I mean, it might look like nothing is missing. We have the regulator on our side. We have people skilling talent. We have the talent is existing. But Loukman, as someone that has been in the space from an independent perspective, what do you think we're still missing in the film ecosystem in Uganda? What do you think that here we still haven't launched yet?
So I think, first of all, I think UCC has the daunting task of having to keep up with how fast technology and this the industry is moving so fast that even us that are in it, we can't keep up. So now when it comes to regulators that have to take something into the board, discuss for months, by the time it's out, we're like 20 steps ahead of it now. It doesn't apply anymore. So I feel like, and it's not just for this industry, I feel like it's for most things now. How do we deal with this? Like, how are we going to have, the discussion should be how are we going to deal with, how things are quickly evolving now, faster than they used to. Yet the policy makers, they're still working with the same style of getting things, board, meetings, It's just not moving fast enough. And we were kind of lucky that the way the world has shifted, like at the Industrial Revolution, countries like ours had to stay behind for 100 years because we didn't have the industries. They take money and a lot of things to build. But today, we are at that point where we are all at the same level. Yeah, because with the introduction of AI and all these things, they're coming to us at the same time.
Yeah.
Whatever they have access to in the US, we have
Yeah, that's
access
the
to.
space now, yeah.
So it changes things, but the mindset is still in that old. So I feel like there's really no way around, like there's no way for us to deal with anything if we don't answer these questions first.
How do we keep up?
Like, how do we keep up? How do we keep up? How do we make sure that the government, instead of having to ban drones, they come up with a system that, for example, because the Olympics, they have systems that keep drones away from the stadium. So innovation, basically. So we need to be thinking that direction, not the direction of, I don't understand this, therefore let's
shut it
let's shut it down. Because, I mean, you're holding your whole population down as everyone else is progressing. And then later on, you realize that, these people are making so much money. Some are circumnavigating our rules, so now we need to tax it. And it's not fair, but it's understandable. I see why it's like that, because a lot of people that are coming up with these policies, you see, even us, we can't advise our kids on what to do. Yeah. Because the future is so different. You don't know what's going to happen.
It's fickle, yeah.
It's crazy. So when we have people that don't really understand these things, it's sad. You can't blame them, but we need to find a way. How do we do this, you know? The film industry is changing too fast. I was watching a video where someone was talking about the future of film. Most cinemas are closing, studios are closing down, and yet content is like growing too quickly.
More than ever.
So it's crazy how so because of that, there's a reason why that's happening. It should be the opposite effect, but it's causing a different. So there has to be a way to make this work, and that way has to be figured out, and government has to be involved.
I was watching someone, sorry to cut you short, they're talking about Idris Elba and how he thinks cinema will change film in Africa. I said, does Idris know that we are closing cinemas? Because all of us are here.
Yeah.
True.
So they were saying that like profits from content will be determined by how big the screen is. So the bigger the screen, the less money you get. The smaller the screen, the more money you get. So meaning that all these tools you're looking at here have been designed specifically to create content for the large screen. So basically it means that most of the equipment we have either has to be adopted or it's obsolete. Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't know these things and someone is buying a phone and then you're taxing a guy who's buying this camera because it looks expensive, you're not realizing that the guy buying the phone is probably going to make way more money than this guy. So these things, it's very hard to, like, for personally, there's nothing I can tell anyone out there. We are all finding out at the same time. Yeah.
Nice.
Are we equally ignorant or equally informed? The question still stands.
You know, when you also have too much information.
Yes.
Sometimes you get into that space where you don't really know what to do with it.
Analysis paralysis.
Now you're just stuck. You're like, where do we go from here? Okay, so back to you, Judithiana. I was going to ask you initially, how can we create opportunities for women in the space? But I want to actually speak to the women in the space instead. You're someone who has managed to establish yourself and make a name for yourself in the film and media space.
I have?
Yes, you have. Uganda's Viola Davis.
Don't say that. Don't kill you.
Don't say that. But seriously, how can we speak to the women? Tell what can they do to rise? What can they do to position themselves? Because I'm guessing someone didn't just come to your home and say, come and work. You had to do it yourself. So what can you tell us that are trying to come up in the same space? How can we position ourselves? How can we rise?
I think, first of all, I would like, for example, people like MultiChoice, Brian Mulondo here, which they're already doing, but I think we can magnify it, celebrating and highlighting women who are killing it in the business. Do you get what I mean? I believe in the power of representation. There's so many things you wouldn't go to until you see someone who's like you and you're like, ah! Let me tell you, the power of representation, like, goes a mile. Like, for example, when I look at Doreen Mirembe, she's playing lead. She's an executive producer. She looks good while doing it. She's going to the gym. She's a mother. She's a wife. I am like, let's go.
She's also a dentist.
Yes, I know. Yes, I'm not. No, she's not a dentist. She's a nurse, a professional nurse, but like for
dental.
For
yes,
children.
for dental, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
What was she
dental
doing in
nurse.
my mouth then? Because
Or did she? Because when she was in South Africa, that's where she was.
I was at
She
their
became a
No,
clinic.
because she's been working closely with the doctor.
So we're not right, Musau.
Thank you. So you
Musau.
Masao.
So me, I feel like once we magnify the ladies who are doing that, the power of representation, for me to feel like, sit there and be like, if Anne-Marie is doing this, and she's doing this, and she's doing this, if Judithiana is doing this, and doing this, and doing this. Because you see, the thing is also, let's not forget that we, in as much as it's a global village now and things have changed, it is a patriarchal society.
It is what it is.
You get what I mean? Brian Mulondo doesn't go home
it?
and he doesn't. It's a patriarchal society. Brian Mulondo doesn't go home and be like, and they tell him, "You sit here." He's still a man of the home. It is what it is. But so I know there are women who love to do it and would like to do it and would like to pursue it. Like, for example, I was so excited when I watched the first season of Damalai, and I noticed that in that first season, the director of photography was Rachel Mambo, who is female. I was like, oh. I'd seen directors of photography in other countries, but in Uganda, for me, that was so encouraging. So for me, it's the power of representation. Let's continue to, it's not that the guys and the boys that are doing it are not, I mean, we already know you guys are killing it.
But I also feel like if there were more ladies taking up these roles, like learning cinematography and learning how to do all this, I don't think anyone would be like, I'm looking for a cinematographer and they have to be male. I think if you're good,
they need to. That's why I think
shouldn't
that's
be a
why
problem.
I think
Our sound man is a woman here on set.
our sound man woman.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
our sound man is a woman.
Our sound
That's what I'm
man
saying. We need to like amplify the ones that are doing it, because I don't think I have seen some who want to do it, but they think, no, it's a guy's thing. But when you see that there's someone like Rachel Mambo on the camera, you're like, okay, fine, I can do it. You get what I mean? Because I feel like women, we're cut out for everything and anything.
True.
We're cut out for anything and everything.
I saw a border chick, and I was like, where can I park so I can get that border? Because she looked like she was very
steady,
mindful how she was riding. I was like, that's a proper safe border right there.
You get what I mean?
That's the actual set.
And unlike sometimes, maybe this is going to even be a stereotype, unlike sometimes when you hear a man say, no, I've seen women who are like, wow, for me, if it puts food on my table, I will do it. So like that's why I say it goes back to the power of representation, because they won't come if they don't know that they would actually be given the jobs. Does that make sense? They have to see her doing sound, and then they're like, wow, I can do it. So it's about magnifying and amplifying those who have done it and be like, women, you can actually do it. So if you're a lady out there and you want to do film, you want to do as a creative, there's anything you want to do, you've seen men excel at, and you think, maybe that's not our thing. Baby, come, let's do it. Let's kill it. Yeah.
All right. And then, as much as I don't want this to end, maybe just one final question to you, Ruth, and then one quick question to each one of you. Let's talk about the red carpet. Mm-hmm. What is UCC thinking when it comes to the Uganda Film Festival? What is the game plan that now people can say, you know what? Like we say in Uganda, kanetegeke.
Kanetegeke. So Uganda Film Festival is a flagship, actually, for Uganda's film industry. It is what now everyone who speaks about film in Uganda must know what Uganda Film Festival is about. And what does it stand for? It stands for quality content. It stands for talent, best talent in the country. It stands for our local stories being told locally and internationally. So everyone kwetegaring must make sure they tick the boxes. you know. So, and most filmmakers are doing it. Even the judges are telling us now in Uganda, people are just producing content for UFF. What do you need to do to divert it a bit? Because people's focus is Uganda Film Festival, you know. But for us, it's a plus when people are looking at it as a flagship, but also learning what needs to be done. Because people know that you cannot enter the festival with poor quality content. Yes, you'll submit, but it will end somewhere. Okay? And when your content wins at UFF, we have seen it. It goes global, actually. That one has even given us a plus and a plus on our jury work and the selections that we make. So you find that now we have ended. Last week, of course, we ended the UFF, and coming next is next year. But the work begins immediately. Skilling, making sure you get the best quality content. And almost every year, what is interesting is that we get new winners. To us, that shows growth in the sector.
The industry,
That you don't just have one Loukman Ali in Uganda. No. How many people are coming up that can do great cinematography? The women we are talking about, you saw Rehema Namfuka walking away with the best award, you know, So Uganda Film Festival is up to it, and it's growing bigger and bigger, growing international. Right now, I can testify that our content is global, our talent is global. We are trying to face this challenge of where now all our winners, when you try to look for them, they have gone to do international productions, you know, which is good for us as a country, but they must come back. Yeah, because we want the sector to grow. And UFF really has done it in that angle.
Oh, thank you for that. So before I release you back into your busy lives of being superheroes, I want to know what you're listening to. What are those 2 Ugandan songs that are it for you right now?
You guy. So as a radio presenter, Ugandan, right now, I'm listening to, it was actually in my head while Ruth was talking.
Okay.
Wrong Places. By Joshua Baraka.
Yeah, that's the same one. Yeah.
That's the same,
Yeah.
right?
That's a consensus.
It's the same.
Joshua. And for my friend Vinka, it's called Sirubala. Like the jam. And that's because I danced in this song. So I'm conflicted there. But Joshua.
Lookman, who else are you listening to other than Joshua Baraka?
I think I like Elijah Kitaka's, I don't know forgetting which one, but the Narabada one, I like that. Ichange, yeah, I like that, yeah.
Ichange.
Yeah.
Judithiana, Wrong Places, and who?
This girl, she's
Laika.
You like violence? You see who we work for.
I know.
And people wonder, why do we give violence? Because the people we work for want violence.
Violence.
Hey.
So who's the
I don't even know what to say after
Is it
that.
alien skin?
No, that wouldn't be hard.
By the way, you've refused with so much energy.
I said there's a girl. She's not new, but I'm a sucker for sweet melody, and all her jams are so much like that. Her name is Tracy Melon.
Oh.
The song is called Okay, I just like her sound, so I think I'd listen to anything right now. Yeah, she's someone I've been really loving. And of course, Joshua Baraka. Oh my God, what a gift.
And I'll excuse the regulator so she doesn't play favorites by giving us her
but you put us on the
favorites.
front line.
What about you?
You have the
I
freedom,
listen to
don't.
everybody and anybody.
Oh wow, we got that. I listen to everybody and
Particularly
anybody.
the percussion musicians. Give me
Really?
Kenneth Mugabe on any day.
Yeah.
Any day, all day. But thank you so much for making the time to make it to the Ugandan podcast. Thank you so much for the lessons shared. The effort that you're putting into building this industry, we do not sleep on that, and we greatly appreciate you. Until next time on the Ugandan podcast, please remember not just to watch us, but to share us as well. The Ministry of ICT and National Guidance YouTube channel should be subscribed by now. If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank you.